So yesterday I went on a little adventure up Lion's Head to go and find some low fog that was predicted to come in. Those of you who know Cape Town and know the Western Cape know that the fog that spills in around Table Mountain is something that we go and pursue as landscape photographers in this area, and it's pretty tricky to get it right. So we're lucky enough this last night to go and get the fog, and this is the adventure that we went on. Okay, up here on Lion's Head, looking for some low fog that was predicted to come in. We headed out at about 2 a.m. this morning, and we were up at 3, and we've been running some time lapses. On the left of me, you can see we have Table Mountain, and for the last hour we've had low fog spilling below the mountain. So I'm going to show you some beautiful images from that. That's something that's been on my bucket list to capture. And on the right into the city bowl, you can kind of see the fog in the distance, and we're going to go shoot now towards Signal Hill. So I got up on the mountain at about 3:30 a.m. and this is the composition that I was looking at, with Devil's Peak on the left and the 12 Apostles on your right, and with the Table Mountain pretty much centered. And the fog slowly started to come in and spill in. Initially there wasn't any fog at all. When we headed up there was nothing, and that's the tricky bit about predicting the low cloud or this fog, is that it can come in within like 2 or 3 minutes, build up, completely cover the area, and then be gone in like 10-15 minutes later. So you have to try and get there pretty early and then just wait out, and hopefully it comes in when the light is still good. Often it comes in after sunrise and you're not able to get that good light with the fog. It's also a long exposure image of about 15 seconds just to get a little bit of movement in that cloud as it was coming in. A pity on the left I didn't get the fog completely going into the saddle. You've seen one of my later images later, it did go into the saddle, but I really like the lighting. This is about 2 hours before sunrise. You got the city lights lighting up these different areas underneath the cloud, and you've got these wispy clouds in the sky. So very nice extreme blue hour nightscape image of the fog starting to build up and come in around Table Mountain. So I really like this image. I was very happy with it. Okay, as you can see behind me, the fog has rolled into the city. On the left of me is Cape Town City Bowl, and directly behind me is Signal Hill. And this is what we're currently shooting this fog as it spills in over the saddle here onto Signal Hill. So I'll be running a time lapse, we'll be sharing that with you and be going through some of the editing processes. What's really nice for this type of fog is to do long exposures. So we're looking at about 15 to 30 seconds. That gives us that nice smoothing effect on the fog, and getting these city lights underneath gives us these really cool lighting conditions underneath the fog. So I'll be sharing that with you later on. So if you look behind me now, you can see there's a car busy driving through the fog. This is one of the things we look for the shot with the fog rolling over Signal Hill, is getting these cars driving along the road up to the point. And what this does, especially at this point where we're shooting, is it creates a really nice S-curve towards Signal Hill in the distance. Very nice thing about shooting on Lion's Head is that you can shoot in multiple directions. If you come around towards the city side of the bay, you can shoot towards Signal Hill, which you can see in this image sticking out of the clouds. And often the fog will spill over this little saddle between Lion's Head and Signal Hill. And when the cars drive along this road, you get this really nice S-curve or leading line towards the top of Signal Hill. So a very nice spot to shoot landscape photography. You can get these nice leading lines, these long exposures of the clouds spilling over the saddle, and you can get the clouds in the distance in the sky, the high levels, as well as the light lighting up different patches and areas underneath the fog. I also really like shooting towards Signal Hill with the 70 to 200mm lens. You can crop in quite a lot or zoom in and get some nice formations of the cloud as it moves through the pine trees, as well as Signal Hill out above the fog. This is a longer exposure, it's about a 2-minute exposure, and you can see in that foreground I'm starting to get a lot of these long wispy clouds that I really like when shooting the fog. And so it's essential that if you're going to go shoot the fog, even though it's so dark, to take some filters with, just in case you need to go longer to get that smooth effect on the fog. So I generally take my 6-stop with me, and that gives me enough play either way to do some long exposures or shorter timing as the sun rises. On the right of me, I have the city bowl of Cape Town, and that's completely filled up with fog now. And we're just waiting for it to completely fill this little gap on the left of me. Once it's filled up that gap, we'll be able to do some nice shots of Table Mountain sticking out through the fog, which is something I've had on my bucket list for a while. And if you look just above the mountain, I don't know if you can see, but there are some sneaky little high levels popping out there, which we're hoping will stick around as we start to get the light going into sunrise, which will be in about 45 minutes time. Okay, it's just before sunrise. It's about 20 minutes, I think, until the sun actually rises, but we have this beautiful light now on my right, and you can see the fog as it's coming over the city bowl, and we had some stunning color on the high levels, a little bit of pinks and yellows that I managed to capture, just doing some long exposures. What's nice with the fog, if you look, you can see a bit of patterning on the fog, but if you go up to about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, it kind of smooths it out. And then if you do some nice super long exposures, like 4 or 5 minutes, you get this beautiful swirling patterns in the fog. As we moved into sunrise, and you can see on the left the golden glow starting at where the sun would rise, we started to get these high level clouds coming through that were picking up a bit of these pinks and oranges from the sunrise. And at the same time, we got a full covering of the fog below. So I don't know if you remember that first picture I showed you, which was taken about 2 hours before this one. On the left in the bowl of the city, there were still lights coming through and the fog hadn't filled up the whole city bowl. Well, in this image, the fog had moved across and it filled up the whole bowl. So I got fog all the way from the left to the right. And that is what I was looking for, is kind of having Table Mountain, Devil's Peak, and the 12 Apostles floating in the cloud above the city, and the city lights kind of sneaking through the bottom to show the separation between the mountains and the man-made city structures. And the bonus on top of all of this was to get the high level clouds. Very, very uncommon to get high level clouds at the same time as the fog. Generally, you always get the fog or you get the high level clouds. You don't often get them together. So for me, this image was made perfect by having this combination of a complete fog covering with the high level clouds, and very, very happy and ecstatic about this image. So I hope you enjoyed that and going through those pictures with me. That was a really fun early morning start up the mountain. I managed to get 3 or 4 different compositions and images that I really liked with the fog and the high level clouds. So this is probably about my 8th or 9th attempt going to get an image like this. But when all the elements come together and it does align, you can get quite a few different unique portfolio images in one shoot. So it's always worth going, always worth seeing. If the fog goes, often it comes in later, or you sit in the cloud, and that's just a risk you got to take. It's part of the adventure. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that little video. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe to my channel or put a comment down. Let me know what you think of the videos, how I can make it better, different areas you want to see. Do you want more notes and tips, or are you enjoying the practical in the field videos?